Hello and welcome to On Point. I'm Samantha Rodriguez. Soka Gakkai International USA, also known as SGI, is a diverse and global Buddhist community with more than 100 centers throughout the United States alone. SGI focuses on Buddhist principles like respecting human life and the unity between the self and the environment. This practice teaches members that they have the courage, wisdom, and compassion to face and overcome all of life's challenges by following the principles of the Lotus Sutra. Here is what some members say about their personal experiences and what SGI means to them.
We share this practice with others because anything that a person finds that gives them joy, that gives them a sense of welling up the courage and the determination and the ability to actually tackle the goals they have in their lives.
This practice really helps me to expand my life, to become more compassionate, more courageous, so value my life and other lives. And it's not something theoretical, it's based on the reality. How do I treasure myself and others in a daily life? And how can I challenge my dream to realize the ideal world?
It's a really simple practice, but it really had very profound effects in my life. And I could see the transformation happening as I was doing it day by day.
Raised Catholic, there's a clergy, there's a hierarchy going all the way up to the Pope, closest to God. But here, everybody has that innate Buddha nature within them.
SGI members take part in many peace activities, such as human rights education, the elimination of nuclear weapons, and sustainable development. SGI-USA holds discussion meetings in over 3,000 neighborhoods in America to share how they apply their Buddhist practice to their lives. SGI was founded almost 45 years ago in Japan. Chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, or to devote oneself, calls forth the Buddha nature and is used as a universal language understood by Buddhists. For more on SGI, here's On Point's Tori Isaac with the story.
Thank you, Samantha. With us today, we have Mark Horton, the Diamond Valley Men's SGI Division Leader, Cassie Colby, the Young Women's Division SGI Vice Chapter Leader, Ryan Ainsworth, Young Men's Division SGI District Leader. Thank you guys so much for being here today.
Yeah.
So I want to start the show just by asking you, we'll start with you, Mark, what does SGI-USA mean to you and how long have you been practicing?
Well, SGI-USA is kind of like an extended family. In which I get an opportunity to support and provide service to people who may be discouraged. This year marks my 40th year of practicing Nichiren Daishonin's Buddhism.
Wow. And Cassie, what does it mean to you and how long have you been practicing?
I've been practicing, well, I'm considered a fortune baby, which means that I was born into the practice. And but I didn't really start my practice until around 2014. And then I really picked it up in November last year. But SGI really means to me, same thing, it's like my second family, and it's really exciting to work with the youth and really fight for human rights and to really just fight for world peace together with a group of people, of like-minded people.
And Ryan?
Yeah, so I'm a fortune baby as well, but I really started my practice in 2011, and then more deeply started practicing Buddhism in 2016. So about two and a half years. And then for me, it really means, connecting with, my district on, a very spiritual level, I would say. And, in that sense, we create, a community and friends and
Okay, so my team and I actually spoke to Randal Cummings. He's a CSUN religious professor, and he kind of explains what the title of Buddha means. So let's take a look at that.
Okay, so the Buddha is not a name, it is a title, and it's really a level of attainment. It comes from the yogic concept of bodhi, which means to be awake. And so one of the things, once the Buddha gains enlightenment, somebody sees his glow and they ask him, are you a sorcerer? He goes, no. He goes, are you a god? No. He goes, well, what are you? He goes, I am awake.
So what do you think he means by awake, and have you guys experienced that, Mark?
Absolutely. I think awaken means awaken to my own potential, my own capability, and the fact that I'm the sole person in control of the actions that I take, the words that I speak, or the causes or karmas are referred to. And I can create constructive causes consistently as long as I'm aware of that.
Mm-hmm. Cassie?
I felt periods of being awake, but I'm still working on that consistency of feeling that all the time and being very present all the time. And I'm still working on growing my capacity as a human being to really just be compassionate to everyone. I think that's like really the meaning of being awake, just not thinking about yourself, but also thinking about other people as well.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. So I've definitely felt a few periods of being awake, but I mean, there's always that fluctuation. It's just, this is about learning how to come back to that wokeness.
Mm-hmm. So I understand if somebody wants to start practicing, one thing they begin by is chanting Nam Myo Renge Kyo. So can you tell me what that means and what saying those words is supposed to do? You want to start, Ryan?
So Nam Myo Renge Kyo means devotion to the mystic law of cause and effect through sound. And it's really about, you know, getting in sync with the universe, I believe, and, you know, going about and chanting this phrase and really being in to our Gohonzon, really. So it's, which is a scroll that has that inscribed in Sanskrit, and so we really believe that that is bringing out that Buddha nature in us, that awakeness.
Mm-hmm. So have you experienced anything like after chanting? I hear once you start, there's like things that happen, and then you know the potential. Have you guys experienced anything like that from when you first started?
Yeah, I think what I began to realize or refer to as a spiritual workout, where you get to polish the inside. Mm-hmm. Even though you can't see it, you can feel it. It's kind of equivalent to, you know, at the gym working out, and you use weights and you continue to do it, and eventually muscles get sore. So the chanting, each person experiences something different, but it pretty much allows you, again, as I referred to, polishing. It's a spiritual workout where you polish the inside, mm-hmm. and the inside shines, and the outside is a reflection of the inside.
Okay. So I also know that you guys do discussion meetings. That's a big part of everything. So what are the purpose of these neighborhood discussion meetings, and can you maybe share something that you talked about in your last meeting? Cassie?
Sure. So the point of the discussion meetings is to really be able to have like an open dialogue with a group of people like that are literally live like around the corner from you, or you know, that are practicing, even with guests that come. Is very guest friendly, but it's just, the point of it is to just really share, I guess, what is going on in your experience, what's going on in your life, to really ask questions that you may be afraid to ask, like during bigger meetings, and really find out the answer, and be able to figure out what this Buddhism means for you personally. So fortunately for me, since I'm a chapter leader, I'm able to see a bunch of different districts and how they function, and it's interesting to see the different dynamics, but overall the district meetings are really joyful, and it's just, I mean, it's really amazing to hear different experiences that people have through chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and how they can drastically change their life for the better.
Mm-hmm.
Like so when we actually get together and study, we study documents that are come out every month called Living Buddhism. So they're basically a magazine that that our president, our current president of the SGI, Dasaku Ikeda, he and all the people that are involved in that write these every month, and we study different lectures that he will have in them based on a Gosho or the Lotus Sutra. So there will be so the Gosho is is a series of letters that is put together by Nichiren Daishonin, who was a 12th century monk, and so that is, there's 2 different volumes of that, and so what Daisaku will do is kind of break them down and give a little bit more context to them, and then that's what we kind of discuss and apply that to our lives in these meetings.
Okay. Can you tell me any specifics or examples of what the last meeting you attended and what maybe the focus was?
Yes.
Sure.
Sunday, we had it's called a Soka Spirit chanting session, and there were some members there that I've known for about 30 years, and they were sharing the experience that they had with the fires. And the experience was that they were on a train somewhere, and this a friend of mine had looked up through the window, and she saw the stars in the shape of a question mark. And so what she was going to do was take a picture of it with her phone. As she did that, she got a text that there was a fire near her house. So she was able to call her daughter, who was at home, along with her, I think her sister. And she was able to alert her daughter to leave the house along with the dogs. And they were able to escape safely. So what we really try to focus on at when we have the chanting sessions is really realizing that we are the sole practitioners with the ability to empower ourselves and change our circumstances by changing ourselves on the inside.
Wow. Okay, so I want to talk about the 50K Lions of Justice Festival. Did any of you attend?
Yes.
Yeah?
I did. I worked behind the scenes, actually, so I wasn't inside of the venue. But I invited as many friends as I possibly could. I registered 61 tickets for my friends, and then about half showed up, and I know you attended.
Yeah.
Ryan, what was your experience at the festival?
I had invited about 8 people, and about 5 showed up, and I was chaperoning there. I was supposed to have like a full car. There was supposed to be 1 extra person that I could actually have, but I ended up getting about half people. And when we got there, we showed up pretty early, and we were able to kind of get everyone together, which was a struggle because there's so many people trying to keep their groups together. But when I honestly didn't know what to expect, but when who's the jazz player that showed up? He was, yeah, he was dope. I've never heard of him before, but he was awesome. And I knew that it was going to be kind of a very motivational message, and a lot of experiences that really want to encourage the guests and people that have experienced Buddhism in their lives. And I thought it was way more than I had expected, especially with the Michelle Obama speech and certain experiences, like the person who it was a woman who was in a wheelchair, and she ended up being a lingerie model, and she completely redefined anything that it meant to be beautiful in society. That was dope.
So what was the main purpose of the festival? I know it was focused on youth, right?
Yeah, so it was really focused on leading our change in justice in society, and so really there was 4 or 5 different goals that we were trying to attain out of that, which was no nuclear weapons, and it was being able to respect one another, and especially since the chaos and climate change. So there was a lot of not really policy, but suggestion to really be aware that our world is changing, and we need to be aware of that. And that was really a movement about that.
So you brought up Michelle Obama. We actually have the clip of her at the festival. Let's take a look at it.
I'm proud of all of you for setting your sights so high and for standing up for what you believe in. And I want you all to know that I have faith in you. I have confidence in you. And I can't wait to see all the good you do in our world in the years ahead. Thank you so much, and enjoy the festival.
I mean, that's pretty big. Michelle Obama was there. Why do you guys think she was so excited and proud? Mark, do you?
Well, number one, I think somehow she found out about the organization and what we stand for, peace, culture, and education, and how we can impact the youth of our country, and motivate them, encourage them, empower them, and inspire them to take action right where they are, with this tool of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo to transform their lives and the society that they work in. Mm-hmm. So I believe what I get from her is about optimism and hope, which is what we really strive for.
Mm-hmm. What did you guys think, Cassie, Ryan?
I think her whole message is really about, like you said, like ushering respect and hope or giving hope to all people and change for the better. And the whole point of this festival was ushering a era of hope and respect in America, especially during this pivotal time that we're in. There's so many violent and hateful things going on in our country, and I feel like this festival really boosted morale, I think, for a lot of the youth in America across the country. So I think that really resonates with her message overall.
Yeah, so I feel like, she really heard about it, because we did it over, the entire country, 9 different cities, and I really think that made an impact, and it's about, I think her message really sends it to it's not, just a widespread thing that we can't do anything about. It's about what you were saying, Mark, it's it's in our communities. It's what can we do, with the person next door,
And looking for the best in humanity.
Exactly.
Yeah. So also at the 50K Lions of Justice Festival, it seemed like a lot of the personal stories shared were also with youth who were people of color. Why do you think there's more and more minorities coming to SGI?
Well, I think if you look at society, it's a diverse, dynamic society in which includes everybody. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the message that President Keita, my mentor, constantly talks about. I mean, he's met with many dignitaries. He's gotten over 300-something honorary degrees. So when you think about that, it's all inclusive of everybody. It's being respectful. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do on a daily basis. Am I successful every day? Nah, not so, but I try. And I try not to if I make a mistake, I try not to do that again. And I think it really allows us to self-reflect as opposed to pointing the finger and blaming others. And that's the beauty of it, I think.
Yeah, it's not really defined by just one minority group or anything. I feel like we're very, like you said, very diverse and, all inclusive. And it just so happens that is a fact of our organization, but at least in America, but.
Yeah, there was research that African American males have been coming into the practice more than before. So that's why I asked that. Okay. Wondering if any of you have experienced that or seen that more.
I've experienced it.
Okay.
I mean, the 40 years that I've been practicing, I've noticed people of color. I've really grown to really respect and admire my wife, who is the mother of my daughter, who Kyla. So I really, as I began to chant more and more, I really felt like I had open heart surgery without even being cut. It really opened my heart up to really appreciating many different types of people that I've been exposed to while in the organization, because it also allowed me to flourish in my career with many different types of people. And I think that's the beauty of it, being able to appreciate your own success as well as enjoying somebody else's.
Yeah. That's great. So there's still a lot of people who follow Christianity and Judaism and other religions. Our Professor Cummings explains the differences between these religions and Buddhism. So we're going to take a look at that.
Yeah, so here, the thing that I would say about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam even, is that they're based on belief. And so they're doctrinal. And some of the differences among the various sects and among them is what are the real important doctrines and what should you believe? And so the protocol is about understanding the teachings, say, of the church, and understanding what is the proper conduct it's very belief oriented. The Buddha is experiential, so it's not ideas about the thing, but it's the thing itself.
So have any of you had any experiences with other religions? Is there a reason why you are with Nierchin Buddhism instead? Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. So my best friend grew up Christian, and like I've been to different I guess lectures or what do you call them? I'm not sure. Worships, yeah, there you go. But it was very like music based, and so there was a huge band and like a lot of different, words being thrown around that I wasn't sure. So I'm sure someone who was coming from Christianity to Buddhism would feel the same way. But it was very uplifting. But at the same time, once we got into lecture, it was very fear based. It was like you have to do it one way, and same thing with Catholicism, like. People who I've known who practice Catholicism or Mormonism, like, it's one way kind of thing. It's like their professor was saying, it's very on doctrine. And I've known a lot of people that have converted from Christianity and Catholicism that now are like leaders in the SGI. And, if one person that I know who was he was a drug addict, and he really had a hard time getting through his day, and without doing drugs. And he came, when I met him, he had just checked himself into like rehab, and he was trying to find like a way to stay out, and like it was really his social group, his community that had to change. And when he met me, like we started, chanting a little bit here and there. And he since had gotten his Gohonzon and is off drugs. He doesn't chant as much anymore, but the best thing that happened is that he's not a drug addict anymore. So, have you had an experience with any other religions where you see Buddhism as a lot different, or no?
I went to a Catholic high school, and my middle school there was a lot of Jewish people in my middle school, so I had experience going to synagogues and experiencing Mass and everything, and for Catholicism. And I personally never dabbled in any other religion, but it was interesting to see certain aspects of Buddhism in Judaism or in Catholicism, such as respecting human life and getting along with your neighbor and all of this stuff. So even though it's not exactly the same, I think, and the whole point of our movement is not to convert everybody. It's really just to, I guess, help people understand that we're all interconnected in some way. It doesn't matter if you practice any other religion, but if you just respect the person next to you, I think that's really the most important part of our movement.
So what changes do members of SGI see in their life? Mark, do you want to start?
Well, I can speak for me personally.
Yeah.
It's reverting back to the previous question. I grew up Catholic, went to church and got money to put in the service that we actually didn't. We bought candy with it when we left church, me and my two sisters. So that I didn't really get anything other than my mother telling me you had to go to church every Sunday. Then from there, and as a teenager, I got baptized in my grandmother's church, but there's still a void missing. And for me, I was able to, my mom had moved out here to California. I called her up, and she had been sending this publication called The War Tribune for 4 years, and I never read it. But in the meantime, what she shared with me, that she was chanting for my absolute happiness. She was chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo for 4 years. And so I ended up calling her up on the phone and said, Mom, and I just laid out my life, and I was at a dead end. And I started chanting at that point. And so this is from someone that had no hope, had no job, no relationship, not any inclination. I thought the world was going to come to an end as a Catholic, because you go to church and you see the crucifix and blood. It's very depressing. And so what I found in Buddhism, it gave me much more hope. So today, which is Happy Wednesday, would be my greeting. Tomorrow is Happy Thursday. And so I feel that if I express what I feel inside to someone else, my coworker or somebody, who knows, it may prevent them from committing suicide. the fact that I acknowledge that person. And I think that's what we're trying to do, is acknowledge the beauty and dignity in everybody's life. And so the transformation for me was exponential. There's no amount of money that could pay me for the experience that I've had internally. No amount of money. It's like a great gratification being of service to others. And do I feel like that all the time? No. But I would say 80% of the time I do. And that's huge compared to where I was before I started chanting or practicing Buddhism.
Well, thank you guys so much for being here. That's actually all the time we have. I'm so happy you guys were able to come out and talk to me and tell me about your practice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you very much.
I tried Oxy at a couple of parties. I thought I had it under control. I didn't know it'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Mommy, I don't feel so well.
Okay, you wouldn't give yourself or your loved one poison, would you? Then why would you take or give counterfeit medications that may contain the wrong or no active ingredient? Counterfeit medications are out there. They can be ineffective and harmful to your health. Be a smart consumer and know your pharmacy, especially if you're purchasing medication online.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
If you're interested in learning more about SGI's practice, you can go to SGI-USA.org to find a community center near you. Thank you for watching On Point. You can follow us on social media at CSUN On Point. You can hear us on KCSN 88.5 FM on Sunday mornings at 5:30. You can watch us on Santa Clarita Valley Television on Sundays at 5 and on LA 36 at 9:30 Thursday nights. For all of us here at On Point, I'm Samantha Rodriguez.